Yay, we are live. Awesome. Okay, so I just want to double check and make sure everything is working. So if you guys hop on here and let me know that you can see and you can hear me, that would be fantastic. I'm going to refresh over here in the group. And yeah, I'm really excited for tonight. I think it's pretty hysterical that I'm actually doing this talk and expecting it to go well during retrograde, because if you guys have any inclination what Mercury retrograde is all about, then you know that I am like playing a curveball here. Yay! Hi, Brienne. Hello. Okay. So as I am waiting for some of you guys to hop on, I'm just going to take a quick sip. Awesome. Okay, so how are we all feeling? Like, first and foremost, let me know in the comments below how you are feeling. Oh my gosh, are you serious? Oh my gosh, Brianna is saying in the comments that when this video went to load, that it said that there was an error loading. So if that isn't a culmination of Mercury retrograde, I don't know what is. So, oh my God. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started. So, it may feel like we hear about Mercury retrograde all the freaking time, right? And that's because Mercury retrograde occurs 3 to 4 times a year, and it lasts for about 3.5 weeks each time. So just when you thought you survived one, guess what? Another one comes along. So first of all, if you are new to the phenomenon of retrogrades, let me give you a quick schooling lesson here. Every planet goes into retrograde at some point or another. And when a planet goes in retrograde, it looks like it's actually stopping and then moving backwards, thus retro, like back. So basically, it looks like it's asleep at the wheel. And the planet itself is no longer able to operate at its normal speed and strength. So when Mercury, which is the planet of communication, is asleep at the wheel, shit goes cray. It goes haywire. Like, your plane gets delayed, your computer dies right before you're about to go live, or says that there is an error. Error loading. You are texting with your best friend and you're talking smack about a nightmare client, but then accidentally you send that text where you're talking smack to that nightmare client. Yeah. So that's Mercury retrograde. And it has the potential to really cause some havoc on your life and, just ruin your plans, essentially. But I'm going to talk to you guys about 5 different ways that I use to navigate anytime Mercury goes retrograde in a little bit. But I do want to make a mention that those who are really sensitive to energy will probably be sensing the intensity right now. You've probably been feeling it for the past week or two due to the shadow period that always happens before any planet goes retrograde, but in this case, we're talking about Mercury. And you may have felt highly perceptive, like really intuitive, maybe just like extra sensitive overall. You could feel really tired. Your emotions have probably been like shifting gears, going from like one really extremely high point to like another like completely low point in like a very short amount of time. And that just leaves you feeling really tired, and it makes you feel like you're being like, it's like a tug of war, and you don't know who is, who's pulling. Oh my gosh, Valerie's saying it keeps lagging. Of course it does. Why wouldn't it? And it probably doesn't help that my kids right now are on the internet. So we're going to push pause for a hot second and tell them to get off of the internet. hold please off the internet. I'm literally texting my son as we speak. Okay, now that that's done. Okay, so you may be feeling like I was saying, like it's a tug of war and you're being pushed and pulled and like you feel like you're just losing control. If you are sensitive to energy, then you're probably still experiencing the effects of this. And it's just like a whirlwind of emotions, but luckily they will start to be simmering down now that the shadow period is over. So now that Mercury retrograde is here, it usually tips the scales for us and it really makes our lives come out of alignment. And like I said, it causes chaos and havoc. So you can see all kinds of arguments, you could see all kinds of just general trouble and like hardship flaring up. But it's really, really, really important, guys, to remember that this is all for our highest good. Let me know if it's still lagging, because that would be my luck. Hey, Mercury, I see you. Okay. So, the reason why, like I was saying, that, all of this is for our highest good, you're probably like, Lauren, you're full of shit. This is for our highest good because then it's from this place that our awareness is raised and we see who and what we are actually prioritizing. You can now see where you're placing all of your energy and if it's in the right areas. And you can also now see like what just needs to be removed from our life, from your life. So a heads up, if you haven't felt this already, you're probably going to. We are about to shed many layers of old skin and go through what I like to call a major transformation. And we're more than ready for it, though. We're more than ready for it. It's still lagging. Okay, why wouldn't it be? We're just gonna take a sip. It's actually blueberry lemonade. Yeah, blueberry lemonade. Maybe it'll fix itself. Come on, Mercury, I'm talking about you. Cut me some slack here. So, like I was saying, we have been through a major, major period of soul growth lately, and this is the opportunity for us to release all of the negativity that has been like occupying space in our life. And the reason why we want to release all of that is so we can make way for what this new reality, this new wave of energy is going to be bringing to us. And, just remember that everybody is going through this. Everybody, not just you. So remember to be kind, remember to be loving to ourselves, to others, and just be patient, because everybody is working through these next highly charged few weeks. So, is it still lagging? I'm looking at comments really quickly. I feel like it is, but there's not much I can do, guys, and it's how ironic, right? So during Mercury retrograde as well, our old traumas may be brought to the surface, okay? And, we may notice that we are way more triggered than usual. And all of these painful memories could be popping up out of nowhere. I don't know about you guys, but I had a dream the other night where an ex-boyfriend that I haven't spoken to since high school was in it. I haven't literally talked to him, thought of him, spoken to him in over a decade, and he was in my dream. Okay. So, and it's possible during Mercury retrograde that someone from your past may even get in contact with you. They may feel like they should reach out, especially if there's like this unclosed chapter. So, in a nutshell, there is closure that can happen because all of our old wounds are being brought to the surface, like I said. So, does that make sense to you guys? Like, let me know if this is making sense in the comments. I know that it's lagging. There's not really a whole lot I can do about it. I'm sorry. But the energy of Mercury retrograde could be causing, like we said, emotional release of like unhealed or denied or unacknowledged, wounds. They could be emotional wounds, they could be psychological wounds, and you may not even know that you've been suppressing them. But this is going to be a period of immense transformation, rejuvenation, and healing if you allow that to happen. Now, most people, when it's a period of Mercury retrograde, they tend to get irritated and just remain aggravated and, blame everyone and everything and not actually look at what is being, placed in front of them. You're being given an opportunity literally to work on old shit. And if you don't know how to work through that, it's not a bad idea to do some energy healing. Reach out to somebody, do some energy healing. I do energy healing, but many of my friends do that as well. So it's not a bad idea, especially during Mercury retrograde. We are essentially purging and we are getting rid of the stuff that is holding us back right now. So all of that stuff's being acknowledged and processed and, let go of. When you kind of surrender to that, that is when the karmic, attachments that you have to the situation are going to just resolve themselves. So does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So sorry, I'm just trying to see if I can fix any internet on here, but I don't think I can. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. So again, this is a period for really purging stuff that isn't in alignment with who you truly are. So those bad habits, anything that you have right now in your life that's destructive, any, obsession, addiction, repetitive thinking, toxic relationships, if you allow it to, it can naturally disintegrate. But to kind of assist this whole process, our focus needs to be on letting go of those attachments to people and the situations and, belongings and whatever that have caused that, drama and turbulence so that you can rise above those old patterns of behavior and move towards making beautiful connections with, authentic and aligned souls, essentially. And so our intuition as well can be really, really high. You can be experiencing a lot of moments of deja vu and synchronicities. I've had synchronicities out the bum for the last week. It's insane to me, actually, how many. You may have noticed, an increased number of repetitive numbers, or just, more coincidences in general than you were previously. Excuse me. And so anytime, I don't know if you are new to me, if you are a, seasoned veteran, then you know this, but anytime you burp while talking about something energetic like this, that is energy shifting and energy moving. So for me, that's telling me that people are resonating with what I'm saying and shifts are being made. So there's that. So, I want to take a minute and pull from my psychology roots, if you will, and explain to you what the word synchronicity actually means. So this is a term that was coined by Carl Jung, and he went on to talk about that regular, happenings, regular occurrences are more than just frequent coincidences, and they appear specifically to align us to our highest potential. And by showing us the reality of the dreamlike world that we live in. And they are sharp. Synchronicities are sudden, and they are unmistakable jolts that can be delivered from the universe in the form of subliminal messages that sometimes only you understand. And they are sent to us to wake us up, essentially, and whatnot. But anyway, the reason why synchronicities feel so highly significant right now is because they are confirmations that we are exactly where we're meant to be, or who we're meant to meet, or who we're meant to be at the exact right time. So whenever we place our faith in these synchronicities, you're going to see more of them. So if you start to see them, if you start to see repeating numbers, or you start to see, feathers laying on the ground, or coins, or, whatever it may be, and you believe it and you see it and you acknowledge it, you're going to be rewarded with more of them. And it doesn't matter if, the event itself is small or huge, it's going to bring you closer to your divine higher purpose. Okay, I still can see it lagging. I can still see it lagging on my end, so I'm sorry, guys. I hope that you're able to actually get this message. I'm just going to quickly refresh the page. Oy vey. Okay, so let me know if you're able to see it. And I am so sorry. I knew that this would happen. But anyway, so like we've already said, you are probably going to feel tired, just like struggling to like get yourself out of bed. You could feel irritated. You could feel, you're just struggling to get yourself together. And so, it's really worthwhile to tread lightly right now. And it's strongly recommended to not make any life-changing decisions during a retrograde. Retrogrades are time for reflection, re-examination, introspection, caution. You need to remain balanced and rest, because there are going to be life-altering experiences for you in the near future. And retrogrades in general are catalysts for positive transformation, because they radiate these amazing bursts of energy that dramatically shake and alter our lives, and they give us the opportunity to wipe the slate clean and turn things around for ourselves for the better. So with all of that being said, here are my top 5 ways to ease your way through Mercury retrograde. Number 1, do not start anything new. You need to wrap up those loose ends on all the old projects. So since Mercury is the planet of communication, messages, transportation, technology, travel, a lot of things can go haywire if you just continue to, embrace that masculine go, go, go energy and push towards your future goals. So instead of irritating yourself by trying to, make progress on projects that you have in front of you, if you do that, you're going to have to redo it. It's like, it doesn't matter what it is. You're going to have to reflect on it. You're going to have to relook at it, rework it, reword it, like whatever. So, this is the time to catch up on the old projects and, check things off your list. So, I'm sure you've got plenty of things stacked up on your desk that you have been putting off or on the back burner. So this is the perfect time to catch up on those. And all of my members of the Rooted Connection, that it is actually next week, I think, where we are being told and that we need to finish an old project. This is the perfect time. So once, you can look forward to when Mercury retrograde is over and you are paying attention to tying up those loose ends, then you've got less projects and you've got, more room and space in your mind to, put towards like full steam ahead with the, new projects. So tip number 2, practice the re's. So it's fairly common knowledge out there that with Mercury retrograde, it's really good for all things beginning with the letters R-E. So renew, rewind, refresh, reflect, rejuvenate, revise. And instead of worrying about what not to do, be open to the idea that you may have to come back to your ideas later or your projects later, and rework them or rehash them out a little bit more, okay? Tip number 3, be on guard for the lessons, the trials, and the triggers. So another thing that's really common during Mercury retrograde is that we end up needing to fix things, like I just said, right? So our computers can be, blowing up. Our phone can shit the bed. Your car battery could die. And instead of looking at these things as annoyances and, taking you away from whatever it is your plan was for that day, look at it as a sign that you need to slow down and you need to look around you and pay attention to all of the things that you would normally take for granted. And so one reason why I personally love when Mercury's in retrograde is because when it's direct, when it finally comes back and is direct again, you get caught up in the go, go, go of everyday life. And so retrogrades are times for slowing down. And, if you don't listen to it yourself, sometimes the universe will make it happen for you. So it's almost like the universe's way of being like, okay, it's time to rest. It's time to take a break if you don't normally take breaks for yourself. And so, it's, you gain this greater appreciation for when things do work out the way they're supposed to, or, when things go according to plan. And, maybe by chance, those annoyances, if you allow them, will lead you to discover this new path, or maybe a new idea that you wouldn't have thought of before because you were so ingrained in that masculine go, go, go energy from before. So, tip number 4, give yourself plenty of time and grace. So, we've already established that things can go crazy, right? And this is the perfect opportunity for you to take your time a little bit more. So, leave early if you need to, if you're flying somewhere, double, triple, quadruple check, that you have everything if you need to, go somewhere on a trip. And traveling isn't like necessarily like the worst thing. It's just that you're going to probably experience some sort of, setback. So, pay attention to any commitments you may have for, traveling or, communication contracts and whatnot. So, by the time that Mercury retrograde has ended, I normally find myself in so much more clarity and clarity on what my goals actually are, because I want to achieve it instead of thinking I have to achieve it. Does that make sense? And it's like we're given a chance to take the pause that we so often don't and appreciate and see the things that, we often bypass and look over, and we are able to see them more mindfully. So, try to remain open to everything that is happening, and, not look at Mercury retrograde as like this big bad wolf that's out to get you. It's literally meant to help us heal and help us pause and do the things that we so often overlook. So, you may have been in need of, a new perspective on something. And so, it's not necessarily a bad thing when you are going through Mercury retrograde. And so here I go, like, my communication is getting all kinds of mixed up. So I did talk about step 5, but I clearly didn't even announce step 5. And step 5 was to just pay attention to your communication, your technology, and your travel commitments. So just, really going into Mercury retrograde with, an open mind and just allowing to happen what needs to happen is the only true thing that you can do. So, listen to what your intuition is telling you, not your emotions, because emotions are always going to be much higher during a retrograde. And just don't fear it, because this is a period that will help us readjust ourselves and how we communicate ourselves, to the world. And it's really a time to figure out what it is we want. And, because compromising and playing small ball truly are things of the past. And this is what this Mercury retrograde in particular is showing us. So, take time to pay attention to where things are stuck. Look at your home life. Be aware that you're probably going to have miscommunication, and disagreements happen. Technology issues are the most prominent example of Mercury being in retrograde. Like, you've all seen the memes that say things like, "Go home, Mercury, you're drunk and nobody likes you," or hide your kids, hide your wife, hide your friends, Mercury's in retrograde. Like, just things like that. It's like, it's not that big of a deal, but we don't like to experience hiccups in our normal day-to-day routines, and that's what Mercury's known for. So, it's a period to detox, and it's a period to really reflect on what is going on in your life, because Mercury retrograde is, no matter what, going to force you to shift, and you're going to, kind of like a phoenix, reemerge from it and rise again. But it's a matter of whether or not you take the time to pause and see what's going on around you. And, with this Mercury retrograde in particular, those lessons that keep reappearing and repeating in your life, it's going to keep happening, and you're probably going to experience them during Mercury retrograde because it's the universe's way of saying, you need to learn this lesson. You haven't learned it yet, or you haven't looked at it from this angle yet. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that those 5 tips are going to be beneficial to you. Mercury retrograde ends July 31st, the day before my birthday, and Josie's birthday, who is watching live. And so, we've got the month of July to power through. So just do the best that you can. That's all anybody is asking of you anyway. And to answer your question, Brienne, do you wait? Yeah, you wait until after retrograde is over to launch it. No doubt about it. Because technology is like the number one thing that gets affected most by Mercury retrograde. So if you want it to be a successful podcast with as few hiccups as possible, you wait. You wait for sure. So, if you guys have any comments, any questions, drop them in the comments below. If you know somebody that needs to see this video, share it, tag them. Everybody's experiencing Mercury retrograde, so there's not anybody that shouldn't see this message. And these tips are going to really help you sail through this retrograde period as smoothly as possible. So thank you so much for tuning in live or catching the replay. And like I talked about earlier, if you want a hand in looking at those, traumas or those wounds or those lessons that keep coming up, then reach out. If this resonated with you, I'm happy to help. I offer one-on-one readings, and I also offer energy healing work. So reach out. Let's see how we can work together and make this Mercury retrograde the best one we can. So sending you guys so much love, and hoping that you all are able to get through this relatively easily. And I actually, funny enough, with the upgrades and the shifts that are happening with this Mercury retrograde, for the first time, I think, in my life, I had 2 glasses of wine last night, and I woke up this morning with the worst headache I've ever had. And it's a brand of wine that I have regularly, so it's not like it's a one-time thing. And I got the message that we really are being asked to be conscious of what it is we're putting into our bodies. Because, again, the universe is up-leveling everything right now, and it's forcing everything to shift. So if you are sensitive or an empath or, intuitive, then you are going to feel these shifts more so than somebody that maybe is, not as sensitive. And I actually wanted to show you guys, I'll drop it in the comments after I hop off, a screenshot of my phone. And I went live at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. And when I looked at my phone right before I went live, it said 9:41. What? It was 6:30. I'm pretty sure I didn't go ahead 3 hours, but I don't know. So I'll send you a screenshot of that because it's a perfect example of Mercury retrograde and what can happen. I just thought it was entertaining and funny, so I will definitely drop that in the comments below. So have a fantastic rest of the night, and I'll be seeing you guys soon. Bye.